Good day, podcast. Pete Kane. We're on the Pete Kane podcast show. We got a special guest in the studio. Not many people come in the studio, but George and I reconnected after a couple of years being going different places. And I wanted to invite him to be on our podcast, a person with a lot of knowledge and understanding of the industry. So, George, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
So my name is George Niezgoda. We started a company in 2010, mold and water medics, and we were focusing on doing mold remediation throughout the Atlanta area. There wasn't a lot of competition back then. There was a handful of guys who still know each other. We still compete for the same work, but and then we kind of dropped off mold and water and went after water damage because it's a lot more profitable, less work, less detail. But we started that. We saw a need for that back in 2010 because, just qualified guys wanted to work hard. We wanted to serve the community. We wanted to give a good product to people, with a lot of passion for making healthy spaces and clean places for people to live and survive with their families.
So I hear that's good. I hear like the contractor trade, there's a lot of shortage of labor, there's a lot of different things going on. How does that affect your ability to put the teams together to do the work? Are you finding that to be a challenging part of your business?
It is. With the business climate nowadays, you remember the phrase "chuck in a truck." Well, now you have anybody who can go open an LLC becomes their own business. It's a low. People aren't working for companies as much as they used to. As a lot of people are self-employed, but I have I'm able to have a team of guys who specialize in water damage. They specialize in mold. I have guys who are proficient in doing repairs. Bathroom, kitchen, and you got to find the right guys who want to work for someone. Not everybody's a businessman. They can do the work. They may get a referral here and there, but they can't go out and chase work all day and then go work on it all day, take care of their families. So, you just have to find the right group that are professionals in their
Hmm.
field. Try to get one that are rooted, grounded with families, people that want to stay and want to serve the community. And they're out there. You just have to work real hard to find them.
So what makes for, like, you're building relationships all the time, finding, venting people. That part of your, would you say, percentage wise, what percentage of your work in a given week is really the subcontractors, the team members that you have that you rely on? Would that be a large percentage of your work, or is it you've built up a team, you know who's good, you know who's not good? What Tell our viewers kind of like that process, because when they hire you, they're hiring your team of people that are vented. So just kind of, how hard is it to put those groups together and evaluate them and vent them?
So, because of my long, I have over 30 years of working in
Hmm.
construction, all trades. I've learned how to build buildings and houses from the ground to the very top. You have to learn about what people's skill set are. Some people are very gifted in certain things, so you have to find team members that you can, that specialize in mold cleaning. Like some of the guys, they want to go tear walls down. They don't want to clean mold, or they want to build a nice kitchen. They're not real detailed for mold cleaning and so forth. So you have to find the right guys, find out what their specialties are, their gifts, and you got to put them in the right slots. It's
Hmm.
like a big game of chess. Like everything's got its place to go. And then the biggest thing I'm finding is that I cross train my guys.
Hmm.
We're not going to have mold, 7 days a week till you die. Sometimes you have big jobs. Sometimes you're in between projects. So they learn how to paint baseboards, how to
Hmm.
hang sheetrock, how to do things, how to hold cabinets for the carpenters. So, we cross train so we can, get projects done and keep the same guys around all the time.
Hmm. What would you say in your experience? How long do people stay in the business? Meaning, like, you're building that rapport, you're building that relationship. is there a certain amount of turnover, or do you have people that you've had for 10 years?
So some of the guys I've had for many, many years. I have Carpenter, it's been with me over 10 years. Um, I have guys who kind of, if you slow down, some of these guys are always looking for a job. But,
Hmm.
for the most part, our guys are core guys. We take care of them. I make sure that they have money all the time. Even if we don't have work, we make sure that there's things to do.
Hmm.
There's always projects. There's always something to do for the company to keep it going. We got vans to work on. You got things at the warehouse that need to be done. So the guys we have, they're professionals in the industry.
Hmm.
They're not going to go become doctors tomorrow. They're not going to quit and go work at a restaurant or, they sure, I'm sure they've looked for other opportunities, but most of them are very skilled in what they do. And they're
Hmm.
just looking for a comfortable place to work with people they like to be around where they feel respected and appreciated.
Hmm. Yes. How do you build? What can you share with our viewers has been successful with you in building those relationships with your team members and the people that you're contracting with?
So it's important that I used to get in the field and work with them more, but you show up at the projects, you go over details with them, have meetings with them. If I need to show them how to do something, show them, and if they're not doing something right, don't make them feel bad about it, but just show them
Hmm.
what you prefer to see happening. What's industry standard, what you're expecting, what the client's expecting, and the more times you practice that over and over, it becomes second nature for your team. They get used to doing things in a certain way. With our industry, there's a standard that we have to follow. So as long as things are done in that standard, there's some, there's a process, but if the process is being followed, the guys are doing all the steps, as
Hmm.
long as the end goal is good. But so you try to refine your process and your team, and but you just try to make it enjoyable too, because it's hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when it's cold out, they're outside, and it's not like they can
Mhm.
shed themselves from the cold. What do you think? Like in the last couple of years, interest rates went up. The availability of homes has gotten tighter on the market. Do you see when homes go on the market, there's like 10, 15 bids and contracts on it. What have you seen? Any problems have come up that you've seen patterns to that kind of environment? Is there anything you could share with our viewers about that?
So with the market the way it's been with people flipping houses, you have to be very careful when you're looking for houses or buying them, that just because it looks pretty, you got to have a really good inspector.
Hmm.
Don't just buy something because it got painted well and they put new flooring and shiny cabinets and countertops. You have to really look through a house and see if there's any work done. If some of the realtors have pictures of before when they're being worked on, or you can look online and see pictures of when it was listed a long time ago, and see if the house looked old, run down, or so one thing is to, if you're buying a flipped house, make sure you have a good inspector, check
Hmm.
for mold, check for water damage or problems, for framing issues. Excuse me. If you And also it's relationships. Some of the realtors, they want to sell things, but if you have a realtor with some good relationships with companies like ours, who, I don't charge them every time we go, they need me to come look at something.
Hmm.
I build a relationship with the team. If I want 10
Hmm.
realtors giving me work, I help them to make a better product that they can sell, help their clients to find something. And then if there's work, they're going to give it to me. They're not going to shop around.
Hmm.
And that helps out for our industry, for our business.
What would you say? It's good. I know we had a conversation like how you got in this industry. Kind of take our viewers through your path of so they have a better understanding of you as a person and what you've been able to do in your career.
Sure. So, I grew up in Michigan, an automotive industry, and
Hmm.
everybody wants their kids to become engineers in Michigan. So I kind of studied engineering, did a lot of design work,
Hmm.
and I just wasn't happy with the pace of it, with the work. While I was in school, I did a lot of construction. My neighbors all did several different trades. We had cabinet makers, concrete guys, carpenters, rough carpenters. So I learned to do a lot of different trades when I was young. And when I got done with school, one day I was at the engineering firm. I said, I can't do this anymore. I went back into construction. We started a kitchen and bath remodel company. We
Hmm.
started putting additions on homes, remodeling commercial buildings. At that time, they were taking a lot of old apartments and turning them into condominiums.
Hmm.
So we did thousands of kitchen remodels, thousands of bathrooms, and I really enjoyed that. In 2003, the economy changed. Um, I was doing a lot of commercial building for 6 years. In 2009 in Georgia, when the commercial building stopped, I got into restoration, mold, water damage, started
Hmm.
learning that, fire cleanup, asbestos cleanup. And the environmental stuff's very important. I mean, it has to be done before you can go tear out sheetrock or remodel a building or move somebody into a space. Work has to be done for health reasons.
Hmm.
So I kind of got into that field, into the field we're in now with restoration, insurance work, and we do commercial. We've done work at churches. Like I was telling you before, we did work up in that Washington D.C. at a
Hmm.
historical building. So we've had a pretty good career in a lot of different projects. We've done some hurricane work, but for us, I like to stay home, stay local, take
Hmm.
care of our community. There's always work in Atlanta. There's always families that need us, so we stay local and protect our own.
Yes, that's what would you say you're involved in a professional networking? What has been the biggest benefit by intentionally meeting with people on a regular basis? What can if somebody's young out there and they're just getting started, they're trying to build their relationships, what can you share with younger people about your knowledge of the value of relationships and how it's been important in your career?
So when I was younger and learning sales and doing construction, we used to pick up a phone, set up appointments with people, go meet them face to face, and they would decide if they wanted to work with you, your company. You would sell yourself to them. You would do things for them, and I still do things that way. I mean,
Hmm.
it's nice to have a phone and a computer that people can find your website and
Hmm.
fancy little videos, like for Instagram and all these fun things, but people want to know who you are. I like to go meet them in their face, shake their hand,
Hmm.
have coffee, or buy them lunch, or if they need something to be looked at their house. Hey, we have people in our group. I think I may have a mold problem. Well, let's look at it. Walk them through the process, inspect their property, find out what you can do to help them. Show that you care about the families, the business, the homes, and put yourself out there and make yourself available to people.
How important is it? Yes, I totally agree. How important, because we talked about gym wraps and we know a similar friend. And one of the things Jim and I always talk about, and I've had other conversations with other friends, is that value of following up, getting
Mhm.
back to people. You say you're going to do something and you do it. Do you see any trends in your experience? Because obviously, to be successful like you've been, you know the importance of following up, calling people. When they say, when you say, I'll call you back today, you do it. Do you see a drop off in that type of um, I don't want to say skill set, but do you see any patterns out there that people don't aren't doing that, or is it been pretty much like you always seen for years and years and years?
Things have changed. I mean, even, when you're in business, you get very busy. I get 4 or 5 calls. I mean, sometimes the phone rings so much it vibrates like
Hmm.
nonstop because it's text messages, calls, and so forth. So, I mean, I try to at least text people, tell them I'm busy. I mean, you can blow through a 5 or 8 hour day quickly without even getting back to somebody, just through phone calls
Mm-hmm.
and doing business calls. But I know a lot of people like to text or they like to email, and I try to find what people find easiest for them to communicate with.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to hear voices. I mean, if you have someone that gives you work all the time and they want to hear your voice, they want to explain things to you, well, you have to give them that opportunity because that's how they communicate. So, I mean, it's a lot of work, but you can put things on your calendar. I mean, I have Google Calendar,
Mm-hmm.
call so and so at this time, whatever. I mean, you could have assistants do it, but I'm into my relationships. I can't tell you to call my wife and tell her I'm going to be late for dinner. She's going to be like, "Why the hell is Pete calling me?" But if I call
Exactly.
her and explain it, it's a little easier, right?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. What do you see in construction now? Like, if you had to look out a couple of years, we've got all technology coming into play. You got AI. You got all these different things. Are you looking out a year or two and seeing any trends that you would want to share with our viewers?
So it's a very, very interesting topic. I did a very small project. So for me, if you have relationships with somebody, they want you to go paint a door at a client's house for
Hmm.
them. Who cares? You go take a guy over there, paint the door. So, we do some very small projects for property managers because those small projects lead to big projects. When a house
Hmm.
catches on fire, well, George is, did all these little jobs for us. Let's let George do the big job too. So,
Hmm.
so you build that trust, that relationship, and you
Hmm.
do that. I met a client just recently. He was renting a house. He was from South Carolina. He was very close to Lithia Springs. And there were a couple things that he didn't like. I said, "Well, listen, man, this is a $5,000 job that they got for $1,500." I go, "If you want perfection, call your property owner and tell them you want them to spend more money on making a perfect job." I mean, we did as good as a project we could for the
Hmm.
budget we had, and we're not here to lose money, obviously.
Hmm.
And the guy said, "Well, do you know what I do for a living?" He said, "I am a construction manager." Because I'm managing right now $1 billion project, and and he said they use so much technology now that they actually have a robot that can come into this building
Hmm.
and they can put plots all around the building and tell you exactly where. So when I used to build, we had paper drawings. You had one
Hmm.
inch drawings. You had to go through 10 different drawings and
Hmm.
find things. He said, with this, they have a little screen, they have a little thing on their wrist. And he said they can literally send this robot in and find out everything they need in seconds, communicate faster.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is, I'm used to seeing guys in the field working, but technology is changing, and if you can afford to, and if you can do it, you have to like keep up with the times and see what's out there, learn about it, and see how you can make yourself more valuable to these companies that are doing that as well.
Yeah, I follow a lot of the robotic trend that's happening with AI and all that. And first, it's going to impact businesses because a factory can put these robots in to do repetitive chores. And the home is the wild, wild west. They say that, but soon we're going to see, you'll be able to buy a $30,000 robot, finance it for 300 a month, and you'll bring your cost of labor down to 40 cents an hour. And they don't go on break. They don't
They don't.
have family problems.
No
They don't
complaining.
drink, and they don't do any of the things that we always find.
Yeah,
So it's going to disrupt
it
industries.
will. It
And
will.
so it's definitely coming, like you said, walking around doing all the things that they can advance and get done for a lot
A
less.
lot
But
less.
they'll never replace us, because going forward you still have to have leadership, you still
You
have to
have
have
to.
soft skills, you still have to be able
That's
to
right.
manage that. So if you're out there and you're thinking it's going to just take away all the jobs, no, it's going to take away the repetitious ones,
Right.
it's going to disrupt the market. But if you always lean into relationships, and like you said, you're working with people with respect.
Yeah.
You're using that brain creatively
Yeah.
now, and so you're not going to find that maybe down the road, way down.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like, if you're talking to a younger George, just starting out, getting in the construction business, deciding that is a path? Because I'm going to assume that I don't know. Do you enjoy working with your hands? Is that something that way back when, because you like to be in
Mhm.
was that the creating of things? Was that something that you enjoyed back then?
I did. I did. I could draw something. I could build something that I drew,
Mm-hmm.
and I could lead a team to do it and show them. So we can create a kitchen or whatever. So I did enjoy doing that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I see a lot of the new generations. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They want to do everything on the computer. But
Yes.
even
Yes.
if you're a technology person, you still have to know how things work by hand. You have to
Yes.
understand processes, how certain materials work, because you can read till your head explodes. And if you don't know how things function, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you've got conditions, weather, heat, temperature. Each product, each product reacts differently,
Mm-hmm.
and it just takes time and experience.
Yeah. There was a person that explained this to me is we're born to create,
Hmm.
but we've gone from creating to consuming. We
Yeah,
watch 4 hours of TV, we scroll social media a couple hours,
yeah,
which we're consuming other people's lives.
yeah.
It's building our own life, creating our own that people are getting away from. And so you wonder that if you're just consuming somebody's other life, you're not going to get the same fulfillment as
Yeah.
you do when you're creating. So when you're like not working, what do you like to do for fun?
Phew, if you asked me that 20 years ago,
Yeah.
I'd have a whole bunch of things I'd like to do. But
Yeah.
now, for me, I enjoy my work. I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
the meeting people. I enjoy looking for products. I enjoy communicating with clients. I enjoy networking, trying to find new business, referral partners.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and with all that stuff, I mean, my wife, we go hiking, bicycling, exercising.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to take your shoes off and put your feet in the grass. I mean, you can't always have them in a pair of work boots,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you have to, work life balance. You have to work very hard to get to where you want to go, but you also have to slow down and enjoy the day. Because how many people in their 30s and 40s have had heart attacks
Yeah.
and things? It's unnecessary.
Yeah, I have a health and fitness coach, Crystal Duke, and we were talking the other day. And we all have all these goals as we're going through life. But when we lose our health because we've neglected those things of enjoying yourself, you have one goal is get your health back.
That's right.
And so to have people enjoy what they're doing and to not put off that vacation till they're 65,
That's right.
but go enjoy right now, work hard, but take those breaks, take
Yeah.
that because I think it's I saw it at Overture because I was there for almost 2 years and the average age was 80. So I did see people at the latter part.
Yeah.
And if you neglect your your priorities of that balance of having
Yeah.
fun, going hiking, going biking,
Mhm.
using that body enough that you
Yeah.
only got one, and
Yeah.
if you don't take care of it, it's not going to take care of you.
I mean, you
So,
have to visit other countries, other cultures. I mean, it makes you appreciate where you come
mm-hmm.
from, where you're at. I mean, if you were born in Europe somewhere, go visit the motherland. Go see what it's like. See how other people live.
Yeah,
I mean, anytime we come home off an airplane, I want to kiss the tarmac. We live in the best country in the world
yeah.
here.
Where have you traveled for our viewers to get a feel for that you've enjoyed? Like which countries, which cultures, are there any of them that stand out?
Yeah, I like Europe a lot. We've been to Italy, Spain, Portugal, quite a few different countries there.
Mm-hmm.
I like the food. I like the culture. I like the old buildings, the old
Hmm.
churches. Um, People are real welcoming.
Yeah.
I've been to the 51st state, Canada, quite a bit.
I know. I have my partner. I give, hey, you're going to be part of the United States. I won't tell you what he said because it's not appropriate for the air.
Yep, and I even enjoy the Gulf of America. That's a great. That's some
Yeah,
good comedy, but
I know.
you have to. We've gone to different islands. I mean, it's
Yeah.
when you get to see other things, would I want to live on we've been to Aruba. Do I want to live on a 6 mile wide by 20 mile island for the rest of my life? I don't think so, but but it's fun to go visit. It's fun
Yeah.
to go see those places, St. Thomas,
Hmm.
all these different things. I prefer to go visit, come back home, have our peaceful life at home. It's very comfortable here, and but being in business, working hard, it gives you those opportunities to do that.
Yeah, that's good. A recent elections, there was a person that gave me put this information out there because the way we receive information has changed in the last number of years. One candidate decided podcasting was going to be something he was going to pursue, and he did 40 hours of it. The other candidate didn't do it because I guess she wasn't confident in what her story and what she was going to be able to say. Do you receive anything over the last five years? Are you listening or getting your information from different sources?
So amazingly, with the internet, with podcast, YouTube. I mean, there's companies, there's process. You can learn how to do things. I mean, sometimes there's steps that somebody, a professional, an expert, a 30-year expert is showing a certain step that you didn't know. Like, for instance, most people don't know that you put water and some dish soap and in finish mud for drywall, that it makes a smooth finish. I mean, if you're never taught that, or you weren't taught by a
Mm-hmm.
well-informed person, and you saw that online and tried it, well, that's information you would have never got if you just stayed with your little group of workers forever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we find there's training classes for how to deal with employees, how to deal with clients, self-improvement stuff. I mean, there's so much you could find online, and there's resources, tell you where to
Mm-hmm.
go. Back when we used to have to go to the library and do
Mm-hmm.
research papers for
Yeah.
school, it was the biggest nightmare. Oh my God.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I am dyslexic, and so spelling was never my something I enjoyed. And people would say, "Well, just look it up in the dictionary." I'd say, "Well, you got to know the first letter." Now I use Alexa for everything and spell this, spell that.
Yeah.
But yeah, going to the library, I didn't exactly cherish. That wasn't my place I would hang
Me
out.
either.
So what would you say as we wind down? I want to be respectful of your time. And what would you say? What would be the, oops, before I do that, let me tell our viewers. Oops, let me see if I can get my mouse working here. Yes, there we go. Tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you, George.
So you can call me at 678-768-5522. Just like anything, if we don't answer, you can text, leave a message. We'll get back to you. I don't have people overseas answering my calls. I mean, if it's an emergency, text me it's emergency, or call me multiple times. If
Mm-hmm.
if you need to get in touch with me, I'll get back with you. Everybody's working. It's hard to always stop and drop
Mm-hmm.
everything, but it's important. We text each other, we leave messages, and we call each other. And if I don't answer, call again. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
we all have lives. We're all working hard, and you never know what's going on the other end of the phone.
That is awesome. So, our viewers, if you know of people that can use George's expertise and knowledge, share this video, because having somebody with your understanding of relationships, people in the Atlanta area and elsewhere, get a hold of George, call him and share this video with him. So it's so important to have reliable, trustworthy people. because when you have an accident, you get a flood, you get a mold, you want to have the right people contact the right people to take care of that, because that's a very unscheduled accident. You're not
Yeah,
like waiting for, hey, I wonder when I'm going to have water damage.
that's
When it
right.
comes, you want to find the right person. So tell our viewers, like, what's the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our podcast today?
You want, if you hire a contractor, you want someone that is there to protect your interest, your home, your family, your health, someone that has knowledge of, we do restoration, water damage, mold, asbestos, fire, smoke, and the construction processes. So we help a lot of homeowners go after insurance money and make sure they have you know, proper funding for the
Mm-hmm.
proper project. So when you're picking somebody, pick through referral. You don't always have to go through the insurance vendor. The insurance company is not a contractor. They provide insurance. You pick your contractor, you investigate, you can research them, and once you feel comfortable with somebody, then you go for it.
That is awesome. Good advice, and thank you so much for sharing that with our viewers. We appreciate you being on our show, George.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Pete.
You bet.
It's been amazing.